Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Toyota GT4 Cup, coming to you live from the Knockhill circuit in Scotland. This is round 2 of our 10-round championship. Race 1, race 2 about to go live. I'm your commentator, Dennis Mitchell, joined by Sean Woodgate. Hopefully we can hear Sean. Sean, can you hear us?
Dennis, I'm busy setting up. Can you hear me yet?
We can hear you, thankfully, yes. That's great.
Okay, great stuff.
All right, I will just chat to everyone and introduce everything while you are getting ready there, but welcome everybody. This, of course, is round 2. Just to look at our schedule for tonight, this is Knockhill circuit in Scotland. Then we'll head over to Swartkorps in South Africa. Then we'll head over to Alton Park in the United Kingdom. Then it's the classic Kyalami circuit from the 70s for round 5. Then we'll head over to America for Road Atlanta. Then it's Alderskrabante in South Africa, Hockenheim in Germany, the modern current version of Kyalami in South Africa, and the final round will be at the Valencia circuit in Spain, which is going to be a fantastic round. Just to let everyone know how the point system works, drivers will earn points for first place to get 22 points all the way down to 15th place, where they will get the single point. There's 1 point on grabs for pole position and 1 point for the fastest lap in race 1 and the fastest lap in race 2. The drivers qualify for race 1, that is the position they start in. For race 2, the top 5 will get reversed, so the positions for 6th down to final place is the same, but the top 5 is reversed. Alright, I think we're going to jump live to qualifying now. I believe everyone should be on circuit at the moment. Alright, we are now live for the qualifying. So this is the official qualifying for round 2 from the Knockhill circuit. It's a 15-minute qualifying session. Drivers have 15 minutes to put in their fastest times. We see a comment in the bottom there saying, "Let's go, Sunday Night Racing." Yes, Sunday Night Racing has got going again. Of course, I am your commentator, Dennis Mitchell, joined by Sean Woodgate. Good to have you, Sean.
Thanks, Dennis. Welcome to everybody that is on the channel and listening. And certainly it's hopefully going to be an interesting race as we had last week.
Just putting up our schedule so that everyone that didn't hear the build-up could see the schedule. So we're currently at Knockhill in Scotland. We then head over to Swartkorps in South Africa, Alton Park in the United Kingdom, the classic 1970s Kyalami in South Africa, Road Atlanta in America, Alderskrabante in South Africa, Hockenheim in Germany, Kyalami, the modern version, the current version in South Africa, and the final will be from the Valencia circuit in Spain. I'm not going to explain the point system that was explained in the build-up. You can go back and listen to that, but I'm just putting it on screen for anyone who wants to perhaps pause and have a look at it. But what I will do is just show our current standings. So in the standings at the moment, in first place we have Gerrit Bierkes on 43 points at the moment, so having a slight advantage over Adib Gamil. Now Adib having a brilliant round last round, I think is the biggest surprise to everyone actually, and maybe even to himself. Jean de Toy tied on points, but because Adib got a win, he's actually ahead in the standings. And then our drivers, in fourth we have Timo Smith, who unfortunately won't be joining us tonight. He has decided he's not feeling well enough to race, so hopefully he gets better soon. So we'll hopefully see Timo at the next round. Neil Swartz, new driver with us, showing really good pace. Jason Underwood, we know Jason had a bit of a rough race too from the last round. We expect he will be working his way back up to the front, so watch Jason. Dinesh Singh, solid in 7th place. Monet Deploy, 8th. Julian Brains, 9th. Julian also not having the greatest of rounds, but he didn't have much time to practice, so we will see how the next round goes. Peter Murray also showing really good pace in race 2. Didn't quite have a good race 1, but we'll see how it goes. Showing really good pace. I think he's currently 6th in the times at the moment on the service, so he might be a surprise here. Picky Stunder, another new driver showing really good pace. Donnie Stunder also didn't quite show what we were expecting. It looked like he was quite comfortable with the car. Maybe we'll see more from him tonight. Jaden Harrison, I expect he will jump up. He was definitely showing good pace, had a bit of bad luck. Ended up in the barrier trying to avoid someone and the car got out of control. Unfortunately, that was a bad result for him. So that'll end up being a drop point, I'm sure. Monet de Toy also didn't have a really good round. I think he DNF'd in the second race. Andre Hildebrand, once again, another driver that didn't quite show his pace. Marius van Wyk, Stan Bezuidenhout also not quite showing what he had in store. Let's see how it all pans out for tonight. Alright, let's get everything up and running while we are watching all the drivers. I have not got complete control of things at the moment, so let's jump to our current championship leader. Let's see how his times are showing. Perhaps I could actually get all the timing things up because I have those all off at the moment. Apologies for that. And he decides to go to the pits.
Always happens.
So, Jean-Andre Toyota currently on track. Is Jean-Andre on a good lap at the moment? We will see. He's coming up to the line now.
Dennis, are you putting out visuals?
I am, but I actually don't have it enabled, so my apologies. It was enabled on one end but not on the other, so you should have visuals now.
There we go. That chicane is actually quite tricky, as you've just seen. Is that Jean-Ray that got it wrong?
That's Jean-Ray getting it wrong after just setting the fastest first sector.
Yeah. The Knockhill, there's not much actually to it, but the bits there are, they bite.
Jason going off as well. Quite a few drivers struggling at the moment. Drivers we wouldn't really expect to struggle. So, Picky Thunder currently in 4th place. Been showing good form. I'm very impressed with our newer drivers, and as we go to him, of course, he jumps off to the... Oh, and then we see some contact between the two Sim experienced drivers. I guess they're both on a good time lap. And I believe the driver in front of him is Jeffrey. Jeffrey didn't make the first round. He was practicing but didn't make the race, but he is with us tonight, so welcome, Jeffrey.
Is that Jeffrey Rouse?
Yes, it is.
I remember asking him in one of the previous championships how to pronounce his surname, and it's like house with an R. So it's Rouse.
All right.
Because we were wondering whether it's a variation of Roo or Rose or something like that. It's Rouse.
Right, perhaps we can go to an onboard and just see how he finishes the lap. And if maybe someone in the YouTube can just let us know, does everything sound alright or audio levels better than last week? Hopefully they are. It looks like the Discord issues with sound have been resolved.
Last corner leading into the straight, just for interest, it's called Taylor's. I didn't go and look up where the name originates. And this right-hander is Duffus Dip. Has then a bit of a left which doesn't have a name, and then almost 90 degrees McIntyre. And then through Butchers, which is just a sweep. And then they get to the tricky bit, which is the chicane, and there you've got to use just enough of the curb, as Jeffrey did there. And then it's the Brabham straight before they get to Clark. This lap is over very, very quickly. Then there's a leftish continuous sweep all the way back to Taylor's again and onto the main straight. And that's 2 kilometer lap at Knockhill.
Let's have a look at some of our other drivers. So at the moment, Stan Merzaidnote on a lap. Let's see if he can do a personal best. He's got Harvey Coase in front of him. I'm not sure if Harvey is on a good lap. Timings, I'm not sure if it was a good lap or not, but it has unfortunately affected Stan. Sometimes traffic just is in the wrong place at the wrong time. With such a short circuit, it's very difficult to get a lap without hitting traffic. Right, let's go to another driver. Stan currently in 18th place. Let's see how Andre Hildebrandt is faring. He's just starting a lap.
Andre's down in 11th on the current timing, but certainly he'll be trying to improve on that. It's a chicane, as we say, it's a tricky bit, and you've got to use the curbing wisely, or we've seen mistakes being made. I think it was Jean-Ray earlier, and if you get it wrong, then certainly the car goes all over the show and becomes difficult to drive.
Of course, Andre is one of our veteran drivers. He's been around a while, driving for Alwyn Motorsport this season as he comes across the line. So he has finished second in the championship. I think it was the GT3 Championship, where he was second in the Veterans Championship. So second to Maurice van Wyk. Maurice van Wyk winning that championship, the Veterans Championship. Andre, of course, also competed in the official MSA South African GT3 Championship, which was held on R Factor 2 in 2022. And I believe he finished 4th or 5th overall there in that championship. So that was a very good result.
In 14th place with almost dead on 51 seconds. As you said, a 2-kilometer circuit, which is about the length that the old Swartkops that went round the drive-in. That was around 2 kilometers. The current circuit there nowadays 2.4. But certainly things happen very quickly. As I said, there's not much to this circuit, but there are pieces of it that if you don't get them right, then you are going to battle in the race.
A new driver for the championship, Donovan Vermaak. So he's signed up with Wildmec Racing, so he's joining Peter Murray. So he will have his car officially loaded for the next round. He signed up only, I think it was today, or was it yesterday, late yesterday, so we didn't have time to get his car ready for him. We're just driving a standard car at the moment. We do have Peter Murray's car loaded this week, so we will see that. But Donovan has been showing good pace in the practice. He's done quite a few laps at the moment. So I'm sure that Wildmec Racing will be scoring lots of points tonight. Donovan currently in 12th place, not on for a good lap at the moment. Looks like we have Gerrit Beekers lining up a lap. Let's go on board with Gerrit.
Well, he certainly has been driving very well. Nice color scheme on the bonnet. And he's in the full throttle team. And it's really, really close between him and Jean Ray. Less than 0.1 of a second at the moment.
Beautiful how he hops the curbs and the car drifts and he just carries the slide nicely and keeps the momentum up.
I think this track, the race length and also the way it's laid out, I don't think tyres will be a problem. But certainly it is a circuit you've got to respect. And things, as I said, when you look again and you look up, then it's the end of a lap. And let's see what he's going to manage his best. He's a 49.096. And that was his target. He managed at a 49.4. So still a bit of work to be done, or he still has 3 minutes in which to improve. So if he really winds it up, he can probably get 3 laps, but he'll probably have a slow down lap and do one more quickie to see if he can get anything done.
Jaden Harrison currently in 4th place. A driver to keep an eye on, I think. Playing good pace at the moment. Of course, our only Jamaican driver, so good to have a Jamaican driver joining us. Drivers coming from all over.
Yeah, Jaden got it sideways last week in the second race, if I recall. And behind him, well, if we say new to the formula, then new to from commentary last year, Jaden is new, Neil Swartz behind him is new, Pikkie Standard behind him is new. So positions 4, 5 and 6 are new drivers, and they're going to make it difficult for the regulars, which are Gerrit Beekers, Jean-Ray du Toit and Jason Underwood, who are lying 1st, 2nd and 3rd at the moment.
And our race 2 winner from last week currently sitting in 7th place. So he might pop a surprise again, because I don't think he qualified that great last week. He was there or thereabouts. I think he was 5th, and that's why he got pole position for race 2. So slightly off where he was last week, which of course does make quite a difference for race 2, not getting the pole position. It's much easier to defend than it is to come through, especially when the cars are so close.
I've actually had to think about this swapping of the grids for P1 to 5. That's too much curb if you put the right-hand wheels on the dirt. I would think it's almost the best to jump away in 3rd position, like Jason Underwood is at the moment, because then he's going to be in 3rd for the next race as well. So everything else will pivot around him. Yeah,
the points are so close. You don't really want to be 5th, because you get swallowed up quite easily if you have a bad start. And maybe 1st is a lot of pressure being in 1st as well, having to defend the whole time, because these cars will be right on your bumper.
Especially with a short circuit like this, and also being 3rd, having just said that, you lose out on the bonus point for pole.
Alright, so what drivers are currently on a good lap? Let's have a look at Jaden. Let's go on board with Jaden, because he's got a personal best Sector 1. In fact, the fastest overall in Sector 1. With just over 50 seconds left to go. So this could be a very important lap, although his middle sector wasn't perfect. Slightly slower than he's been before. When he got the final sector, he turned in a little bit early into that corner.
I took the corner twice,
Yes.
as it were.
Had to hacksaw it.
Yes. Got it going down the road again, so let's see what he does.
Yeah, didn't quite improve, but let's see how his next lap goes. All right, let's have a look at Monet Deploy. We haven't been looking at him. Of course, this is Jaden's teammate. Oh, bouncing over the curbs there. I think another driver that could pop a surprise.
Monet in 8th at the moment, or he has qualified in 8th until now. Nice to see that corner. I think you compress the car on the suspension, and then when it sort of rebounds off the compression, then you've got to put it through the curve. So it adds a bit of complexity to the corner. It's just not as if you're driving through a flat chicane. You've got to keep in mind the dip as well.
Looks like he's about to improve.
Monet's going well. Let's keep an eye on him.
2 PBs. And up to 7th, and that'll be it, because that's a timer over. So drivers on circuit at the moment can finish their times. So D Nash currently just crosses the line, so that's the end of him. He gets 9th place. Donovan Van Marcus just crossed the line, so I think that is it. We are going to jump to a quick ad break, and we will be back shortly for race 1.
Back with you in the race.
All right, welcome back everyone to race 1 of the Toyota GT4 Cup, round 2 on the Knockhill circuit in Scotland. This is a 20-minute race. Race 2 will also be a 20-minute race. The drivers are pulling away. I'm not sure what happened. Looked like someone had an issue there. We can head over in a second to our grid. Let's get our grid on circuit so that we can see what is going on. Alright, in pole position, oops, it's showing East London, sorry about that. We have Gerrit Bierkes in first, Jean de Toy in second, Jason Underwood in third, Hayden Harrison, superb fourth place. In fifth place, we have Neil Swartz, great qualifying, Picky Thunder, sixth place, also great. Monet Deploy, seventh, Adib Gamildian, only in eighth. In 9th place, we have Dinesh Singh. In 10th place, Peter Murray. 11th place, Julian Brains. And in 12th place, Andre Hildebrandt. In 13th, Donovan Vermaak. 14th, Monet Dutoy. Dan Bezaidnert in 15th. In 16th, Jeffrey Rouse. In 17th, Marco Rabellini. Donny Stunder in 18th and Harvey Host in 19th. My apologies on Michael's surname there. It's just the way it's showing it. It's blocking and I couldn't remember out of my head.
Yeah. Now it's nice to see a couple of new names and also the fact that they're out of country, so that's great.
Alright, as we wait for the drivers now to get going.
To the glitch for whoever it is.
I think that's Peter Murray.
Yeah, it looks as though that's network connection problems. And also noting the grid is on a rise.
Oh, sorry, we got a penalty for Adib Gamildian. That might be because of the road being on a rise. Maybe he rolled there.
Yeah, there were a few cars that rolled backwards and then rolled forward again. So I was about to say this start can be very difficult because of the way that the track is laid out on the grid. I think that the front half of the field is on the downhill bit and the back half of the field is on the uphill. So yes, very interesting.
Right, let's get all our stuff on screen so we know who's what and where they are.
Gerrit is gone again. Somebody decides to take the dirt road.
I think that's Monet Deploy.
Yeah, gets it back again nicely. Whoever was off there also getting back nicely. Oh, looks like the guys are really battling. I think that's out of the chicane. So, you said if there's a penalty already for Adib, is it just a time penalty or does he have to do a drive-through? There he comes in.
Speaking of which, let's have a look at what happens to him. He's heading into the pits. I presume it'll be a drive-through for jumping the start, but that's around a track like this is pretty devastating. He will come out stone last.
Yeah. And everybody, of course, at speed while he's going down at pit limit. Yeah, drive-through penalty it is and served immediately. They've got that behind. That gives him as much time as possible, 18 and a half minutes, to get back to the guys that are making the mistakes in front, to hopefully catch up to them to get a position or two back.
It looked like Neil Swartz making a mistake. They're down to 12th place, so he lost a lot of places there.
Yeah, he was, as I was saying, one of the new guys racing with us here in Sim Experience SA, and certainly one of the new guys, look there as well, who it's the toy that's coming up, one of the Boeing Brigade, 737, that also I think might have made a mistake, but the guy that's also doing very, very well is Jaden Harrison, the Caribbean United driver. So he's fighting it out there with Jason Underwood, but I think at this stage Jason's in third. There's the Flying Bumblebee in the lead, then Jason Underwood coming through. So a great race here between Jaden Harrison and Jason Underwood. Jason Underwood in P2, that's one that I mentioned. He'll stay in P3. Where does the system find Peter Murray from all of a sudden? There, it's dropped him back into sixth. So Jaden showed us last week that he is quick. I think inexperience with the East London circuit just gave him a raw deal at the one point where he lost the back end of the car.
And he's just set the fastest lap of the race, by the way, 49.808.
Now that's 0.1 of a second quicker than Gerrit's last lap. So he is motoring along, is Jaden, and he's only less than, or make it depending who's where, half a second behind Jason Underwood for second. There you can see them, with Gerrit in the lead by 2.1 seconds already. My goodness. He certainly, when he gets a good start, then Gerrit is off and virtually out of the commentary.
I think if Jaden can get past, now that's going to be the difficult thing, getting past, but if he can get past Jason, he might be able to pull away if he has faster times, although Jason has just set the fastest overall middle sector.
Yeah, so I did say this circuit, Knockhill, doesn't have much to it. I'm actually just having a look where the places to overtake. If you can dive up on the inside, maybe on the last corner, Taylor's, but the section that goes after the front straight is, I think, a little bit complicated, and then Butchers and the chicane, I don't think you can make it. I think this is going to be a very, very difficult circuit, other than the last corner, potentially, to try and do an overtaking move.
Jean Toy is only in 5th place at the moment, so that's a bit of a surprise. Got Julian Brains up at him, so Julian Brains having a fantastic race so far. That's an unexpected result.
Where was he? 8th, 9th in qualifying, Julian? 10th, thereabouts?
I think he was 10th, if I remember correctly, because Adibi's teammate was in 8th, and he was behind his teammate.
Now, talking about Adib, he's up into 12th already.
So Adib on a recovery drive at the moment.
Yeah, and let's see, he's only 0.8 of a second behind Jeffrey Rouse. So certainly going to make a battle of that one, and potentially it'd be interesting to see if he does pass, where he passes, if we do have eyes on him. But certainly coming back up the field, and hopefully for him fighting back for a place in the top 10. Let's just see, it's another 2 seconds, 3 seconds, is 5 seconds. Catch up 5 seconds.
Oh, there's a position change there. Jean getting past Julian.
Yeah, so that's Julian down into 5th. Genre in the orange car, racing very well. We did see him show us how not to do the chicane in the qualifying session, but it certainly looks as though he's got the better of it now.
Some of the other drivers in the field, we have Donnie Stunner. Donnie Stunner in that fantastic green car of his. Always stands out because of the color.
Did he race a Mercedes in one of the formulas in those green colors?
In the GT3s, I believe he did, yes.
Yeah, that's what sticks to my mind. That's what the one that had that honeycomb layout on the top of the bonnet. So one gets to remember the guys by the car color more than anything else.
Another driver having a good race so far is Mornado Toy, up to 10th place.
Yeah, that's the other half of the Boeing Brigade. Savage Racing, they call themselves now.
There's one of the Sim experienced drivers that has gone off. I believe that is Julian.
Oh no, and he was doing so well.
He's tumbling down the field at the moment, so I'm not sure what happened, but he's lost a lot of places. That must be disheartening. He was up to 5th place. Well, he was 4th, was down to 5th, and then he's made a mistake, and he's now down to 14th.
Yeah. There's the battle, Michael Rabolini and Donovan Vermaak coming up behind him. So Michael Rabolini in 15th, and certainly chasing hard on Donovan Vermaak. So Donovan Vermaak chasing Michael. Let me get my ducks in a row. And the final corner, too late on the brakes, is Michael, and Donovan just dives up on the inside. That's like really given to him on a plate, so Donovan didn't have to fight for that. See, that's also the other thing, is if you're in the right position to force your competitor ahead of you to make a mistake, it makes the pass so much easier and less risky, because that was just clean, no element of risk at all. Just take the piece of road, present it to you, and carry on down the road.
Yeah, Michael's kind of hanging in there at the moment, so let's see how the lap progresses. Maybe it's just a mistake. Maybe he's got the pace to hang with Donovan. At the moment, their previous lap times aren't very good because with his mistake, he was 2 seconds slower, but we'll see on this lap. Maybe he can cling on to the back of Donovan and get dragged along.
Just needs to make up a little bit of distance. I think slipstreaming, or drafting as the Americans call it, down the front straight.
And then Donovan makes a slide. Talking about drafting, he was drifting. Never mind drafting.
Yeah, that's 4 wheels sliding. Looks like Randy Mamola on 2 wheels. I think Randy Mamola was the first motorbike rider to do a 2-wheeled slide of a motorcycle all those many years ago. the circuit's difficult. I tell you, as tight as what it is, and people, if you look at it on paper, it doesn't look too complex. There again, drifting it off the circuit. Here comes Rabolini, and he's spot.
That was very, very lucky.
Yeah, I think had he been there, potentially half a second later, it would have been front left to front right collision.
See, we have a DNF for Andre Hildebrand, so I'm not sure what happened for him. I saw him in the pits in the start. I'm not sure if he had a problem. Julian Brains is in the pits at the moment. So what has happened to Julian? Is he maybe damaged from that incident? We did see him go off. We didn't see if he collected the wall, but maybe he did.
No, it was a very strange thing, but the car was out of control for a long time, and as you say, we didn't see what he hit in that passage that went along. Here's a nice group. Let's see who's in the lead of this one. It's D Nash amongst others. Unless that's actually D Nash is up to 5th, which is very good for him, with Picky Thunder right behind him in 6th position. So look at that, the way they use the curbing there. The car's almost airborne, coming out at what they call Doofus dip, and it's a, as I said before, it doesn't look like much, but you get through Doofus dip, then there's a bit of a right-hander that has no name, and then there's the the left, and then the 90-degree right, which is McIntyre's, and that combination of 3 corners follow very rapidly upon one another, and then you hardly settle, then you through Butchers and the chicane immediately after that. So being such a short circuit, those corners are right on top of each other, and you've got to really, really concentrate to get them right.
I think it was one of either Donovan or Michael that went off in the background as we changed cameras as well.
So of course things with such small circuits can and usually do happen, and that makes the racing very interesting. It seems to go very quickly. If we have a look now, we're already halfway through the race with just over 10 minutes to go.
Very little comments from YouTube tonight. I'm surprised. Is everyone still awake in YouTube? It's quite an exciting race so far. Not quite as exciting as East London was the prior week, but so far lots of incidents happening. Not as much passing happening, but lots of incidents happening at the moment.
We'll be off into the grass behind Monet Deploy. Was that Monet Deploy or Adib?
I think it was Adib. Looks like he's dropped back. Monet's made up a place.
Yeah, then it's Adib that went off into the grass. He's not having the greatest night for consistency. To make his way back from a drive-through into the top 10 is commendable, but if he didn't make that mistake now, it looks as though he's 0.7 of a second behind Monet Deploy, and Monet is all of 5 seconds behind Monet Deploy. The cars we are talking about are Deep number 119, Monet Deploy number 777, and Monet Deploy number 38.
Of course, Picky Thunder is one of our newer drivers, so we don't have any season results for him. There's none available because he hasn't raced any seasons with us. But at the moment, showing really good pace in the previous round. He was really up there. He made a mistake in I think it was into Potters in the first lap of race 1. Other than that, he's been really consistent, showing good pace. So I imagine we'll see him near the front as he learns. He's apparently very new to sim racing, so showing great natural ability at the moment.
The other thing that the graphics are showing us is that Knockhill is a very bumpy circuit. I should imagine these cars are quite stiffly sprung, but if you look at they bounce all over the show, even on the flat straight bits, you see them bumping along, which makes controlling a car even more complex than just driving a nice smooth circuit. And then of course they use the curbing as well still to add an element of change to that. There's one car off on the right, also one that we don't have a skin for because it's in the GT4 colors that you get by default. There's Monet and Picky, and Picky has Monet behind him, the Hunter and the Hunted, and certainly he's trying his best, is Monet Deploy, to get up to and past. This is the front straight, and we said, well, that combination of corners at the end of the front straight, I'm not sure whether that's a good place to try to overtake, but then again, these guys are actually doing the racing, so they will know better than I do.
Donnie Thunder's at the moment not having such a bad race. He's in 12th place. He's got Jaden right behind him, so Jaden having made a mistake. He's behind Jeffrey at the moment, hanging in there. He set his personal best in Sector 2. He's just, I think, done his personal best lap time as well, of a 51.0. So Donnie's slowly getting the hang of it. Ooh, he runs slightly wide. And Jaden will be looking to get past him.
And I think if you look at all these drivers, somewhere along the line, they make a mistake on the circuit. And Adib, while we've been chattering along, is up into 8th, which is really a good recovery.
That is very good. And considering he's now 4 seconds behind Monet Deploy, let's see if he can catch up. The lap times are very similar between himself and Monet Deploy. Last lap there was a 3/10 difference in Adib's favor. I don't think he's going to have enough time to catch at that rate.
He certainly is trying though. If you look at the way that the car is bouncing all over the track, then he is using the track and a bit more. So certainly a good recovery. But Gerrit, 1.8 seconds, I think he's actually lying low. And the fastest lap still sticks with Jean-Ray de Toy. So I'm not sure which of the laps it was, but he's doing his best lap was a 49.7. His last lap was a 50.4, so it's about a second slower. But everybody's into the 50s now and higher. Although Pikkie Stander just hit his personal best the last lap.
There's an incident. Couple of cars off there.
Yeah, Javi Gous is one of them, and I think he's at the back of the field at the moment. So whether it was in lapping Javi, I don't know, but certainly a shake-up happening there.
It looked like Harvey, it looked like Monet de Toy, and I think it was either Michael or Donovan van Mark involved in that.
Looks like Monet, who's now 13th, and Donovan van Mark, who's in 14th. A DNF for Monet de Toy. So that looks as though that was terminal. Whatever damage that did occur there. Using the how he held on to that, I really don't know.
Let's go back to the Monet, because Monet is right on the bumper here of Pikkie.
Pikkie's been driving very well, and as I say, there just touches the brakes, or maybe it's just the suspension bottoming out because it wasn't blue smoke, it was like in brown in color, so maybe they've got a barge board underneath the car, and maybe that's just touching as they go over the bumps. But Pikkie Stander in 6th position, holding on for dear life ahead of Monet Deploy.
I think this is a racetrack will definitely develop your racecraft, because it's extremely difficult to get past someone. If you saw Pikkie there getting sideways, running wide, but the nature of the circuit, you just keep racing and the guy behind you can't get past. The difference between the cars just isn't big enough that you could gain the momentum. You need to get a perfect exit, make sure the guy has a mistake, and then capitalize. It's so difficult to get past someone here.
I just saw probably one of the perfect runs through the final corner by Pikkie. He went in, clipped the apex on the right, and allowed the car to drift out to the left naturally. Now, if you're overtaking, you've got to be up on the inside before you get even to where the corner starts. Otherwise, the guy's just going to take the natural line. And look there, just taking natural lines, Pikkie is making it almost impossible to pass unless you're going to go on a suicide maneuver up the inside. By taking the natural line and doing it well, the track is of such a nature that you just block the pass every time you change direction.
Look how close Monet gets up to him, right on his bumper here. In fact, has to take slightly evasive maneuver there, just hit slightly wide out, cut it back.
Yeah, and the same story repeated. So kudos to Pikkie, and certainly driving very well, but Monet is not giving up. One of the cars coming out of the pits again.
I think it might be Julian. We have a DNF for Neil Swartz as well.
Julian has changed from a DNF, so whatever he's done, the mechanics have used the spanners, and although he's 10 laps down, I think he's going to try and get to know the circuit a bit better for race number 2. Only 3 minutes left, so this lap and probably another 3, maybe 4 laps in total from where we are now. And let's see where Gerrit is. Gerrit's 2 seconds ahead of Jason Underwood. Then it's Jean-Ray de Toy. Peter Murray in 4th. Dinesh Singh in 5th. Adib still in 8th. And he's 2.5 seconds behind Monet Deploy in 7th position.
So lots happening. I'm just looking at the lap times at the moment as we see Julian back into the pits. So he must have some kind of issue with the car, because I don't think he has a penalty at the moment. Unless he exited the pits and got a speeding. But no, he's stopping. So I presume he's going for repairs.
Or something on the setup isn't working well enough for him. So he'd rather go back into the pits to try and get that sorted out. He still has 2 minutes. If he were to come out, he might get... Oh, there's a change. Now, there's a mistake made. The standard coloured car...
I think that was just someone being passed, a back marker.
Okay, so he stayed out of the way. I was about to say, that's the first time that I've actually seen that, but you are right. He actually... And that's a nice way. It's also an illustration to show how you can, as a back marker, stay out of the way to let one of the faster cars come through. Jason Underwood running a fastest lap of 49.6 and his current, or the last lap, of 50.5. So everybody about a second off their best, which makes sense because we're almost at the end of the race. 1 minute and 3/4 to go. Gerrit Beekers, the flying bumblebee.
We haven't seen him much. We haven't spoken about him much. He's just kind of disappeared into the distance again. So hopefully race 2 is a bit more difficult for him. If the other drivers can give him a hard time, give us some entertainment. I think coming through from 5th place is going to be extremely difficult on this track. So we'll see. Maybe race 2 provides a bit of a turnaround. We're going to have, at the moment, Dinesh Singh will have pole position for race 2. And on this track, he could defend and possibly get a victory.
And who knows, maybe Peter Maria behind him will keep the rest of them. I know they're going to, depending, we swap for where they qualified, not where they finish in the race. We got that wrong last week as well. But Harvey Goos gets the flashing lights from Gerrit Beekers, and I think Harvey will more than likely, where are they? They're on the last corner, so Harvey's going to drift out wide, which he does, and Gerrit Beekers comes past him, and he's going to do one more lap. So with 43 seconds to go, he's going to finish this lap, and it's going to be one more.
All right, so we have Jason Underwood chasing down. The gap is it actually has come down in the last lap from 2.4 down to 1.9. But this is the final lap.
He had Harvey to contend with.
That's right, yes.
So now Jason's got Harvey to contend with. So that's going to make the gap grow again between Jason and Gerrit. And I think this part of the circuit where these bends follow the one after the other, Harvey just taking the racing line, very difficult to stay out of the way. And he does so there, although did he get a nudge? Doesn't look so. Jason comes through cleanly. And yeah, Harvey's still behind him. He just stayed on the one side. The time is up, so whoever comes across the finish line first now, and it's going to be Gerrit Beekers to win race number 1 at Knockhill.
In case you didn't know, that was the final lap. I only put the notice up now. Apologies for that. Jandre coming across the line for 3rd place. Peter Murray, superb 4th place.
One thing that went, well, I'm not sure what the gap was on the line, but I think it was actually way down the line. Gerrit actually slowed down because I just looked up and saw Jason Underwood was only 0.6 of a second behind Gerrit, but I think that's by the time Gerrit had taken the foot off the throttle already. The lap scoring monitor, of course, stays live, regardless of what the race does, even if it's finished. So, yes, great race for Gerrit Beekers. He's going to start in 5th because he qualified in pole anyway. So the rest of the guys that did well, Pikkie Stander, one of the new drivers, in 6th position. Excellent stuff. Morne Deploy in 7th. And Adib recovering to 8th position. Well done, sir. Certainly a great recovery drive after a drive-through penalty on the start.
And of course, for race 2, we have Dinesh Singh will be starting in pole position. I think that's his first pole position with us, if I stand corrected, but I believe so. And I believe that's everyone finished the race, so we're going to jump to a ad break quickly. We'll be back shortly, so stay tuned. We'll be back after sitting the grid for race 2, which will probably take about 5 minutes, but we'll see you shortly.
Speak to you in race 2.
All right, welcome back, everybody. We are now live for race 2. This, of course, is race 2 of our Toyota GT4 Cup, coming to you live from the Knockhill circuit in Scotland. This is another 20-minute race. I'm going to head straight to our grid because it is a very short lap. So let's just go straight to the grid. And in pole position for race 2, we have Neil Swart. I was totally wrong with mine, saying D Nash, Jaden Harrison in second, Jason Underwood third, and Jean-Louis Dutoy in fourth. In fifth place, we have Gerrit Beekes. In sixth place, Pikkie Stander. In seventh place, Monet Duploy. Eighth place, Adib Gamildian. In ninth place, we have D Nash Singh. In 10th place, Peter Murray. 11th place, Julian Brains. And in 12th place, Andre Hildebrandt. 13th place, Donovan Vermaak. 14th place, Stan Bezuidenhout. 15th place, Marco Rabellini. And in 16th place, Donnie Stander. And in 17th place, Harvey Goos. We seem to have lost 2 drivers in the changeover.
Nice to see that 2 of the new competitors are first and second, even if it is because of the change around of the top 5. Well done to Neil Swartz. You've got to be in it to win it. And certainly Neil Swartz and Jaden Harrison are right there in it.
Something I like about this circuit is that you'll see that the grid is actually staggered. So cars don't start directly behind someone. They're slightly off to the, probably sort of middle of your car, facing the rear pillar of the car in front of you.
That makes that you can change direction at the start.
Which is 5 seconds away. All right. And we're away. Ooh, good start for Jean-Louis, and the road getting closed in front of him. A bit of bashing going on behind, but looks like everyone, I'm holding my breath. Everyone seems to have got through all right. Ooh, in the background, Monet, I think, is off.
Sorry, Dennis. The guy that got the best start there was Gerrit Beekes. He kept the car clean and allowed everybody in front of him to do the bumping and barging, and then he got maximum benefit out of that from 5th to 3rd in 2 corners.
Yeah, what a great start, yeah.
Now we'll actually see where you do make an overtaking maneuver on this circuit, because I certainly think that's what Gerrit will want to do as early as possible, and they're already into the last corner the first time. So the front 5 very close together, and now it's a question of, I think they'll all have similar speed down the straight because the cars are identical in setup, but then this complex that follows, it is very, very difficult. Unless the guy in front of you makes a mistake, which is not impossible, I don't think this is the place to mount a charge to take a position, but I think you need to think about it very closely. But Jaden Harrison losing a bit of distance to Neil Swartz. Neil got a demon start. When the lights changed, that car squatted down and it just went. And I think what happened behind him was John Ray tried to go for the gap in between, but in so doing got involved with Jason, and that allowed Gerrit to get past both of them.
And of course, he has officially led a lap now as well. So that is the first lap he has led, I believe, with us. So congratulations on that.
Oh, well done. And I think it must be great fun to come in and, well, if you say he hasn't raced in other sim racing formulas before, then certainly, well, Neil Swartz, Jaden Harrison, they both seem to have a natural talent at this and doing very well. There's Donnie Stander. He's got the honeycomb there, but it's just not as bright as what it was in one of the cars earlier. Certainly a nice color scheme and very unique. Depending where the sun is, there's one off.
He rolls.
Over the top, Donnie Stander rolls it. And I think, I'm not sure whether he was assisted in that role, and Stan Bezuidenhout decides to take the short road through the chicane. Everything happens, and we happen to be in car with Donnie at the time, and he's going to fall all the way back in the GDR Racing car number 72 after managing to roll it there.
I think he might have gone to the pits. He has disappeared by the looks of things.
Yeah, Harvey Goos had a much better start. He's also in the GDR Racing team. He's up to 13th.
Donnie actually managed to keep it going. Wow, congratulations. That was quite a save then.
So he's at the back, and he's only 2 seconds behind Andre Hildebrandt. The battle is on there between Neil Swartz and Jaden Harrison, and behind them the bumblebee of Gerrit Beekes. But not too far back, another champion Jason Underwood, and the orange car behind that, Jason Underwood. So the top 5 have now gotten away from Picky's standard. Picky's about 2.7 seconds behind John Ray, who's in 5th. So you can see quite clearly the top 5. But look at Neil Swartz go. And Jaden Harrison, I think Gerrit is also a very clever driver. He's not going to overdrive. He's going to wait until potentially Jaden makes the mistake before he thinks of passing. But at this stage, with Jaden holding them back, I think Neil Swartz is way by 3/4 of a second. It looks more, but it really is close. Now he's just got to keep it smooth.
And this is quite dangerous for Gerrit at the moment because he's got 2 charging cars behind him. He's trying to get past the car in front, but he can't risk it because he's leading the championship at the moment. So if he sticks his nose up and it gets cut off, he's going to lose the 2 main guys coming past him. There, Jaden's defending already on the straight, moving over.
And the reason we say defending, that means that Gerrit would have to go around the wide on this corner, the one at the top of the hill. He's got to go around the long route, and that makes life very difficult.
Here comes Jean as well. 3 wide in there, 4 wide.
Oh, they managed to make it work.
Look at Jean, picks off 2 of them.
Yeah, he's from 5th to 3rd, which is what Gerrit Beekers exactly didn't want to happen. So Neil Swartz and Jaden Harrison are certainly the cats amongst the pigeons, and the pigeons are battling.
I'm sure Gerrit is not happy about that, but at least he's still in the fight. He's still got plenty of time to fight back. Better to be in it than not in it. So 15 minutes left. He's only got a quarter of the race gone. It's been a bit of a scrap. You can just let things settle down. As we see Harvey Ho's going off in the background there, unfortunately.
Fastest lap by Jaden Harrison, 49.9. So it's a sub 50, and well done, sir. A great race that we're seeing in the front. Somebody off there. Oh, that's the green car of Donnie Stander again.
It is, yes.
So, there's no other car that's green, so one recognizes that one instantly. So I'm not sure whether he had damage. And there, Gerrit Beekers' mistake there, putting the left side of the car onto the gravel, and you don't have as good acceleration when the wheels are on the gravel, so certainly works better on the tarmac. But Jean-Ray de Tour is going to be pretty chuffed with himself getting up from 5th into 3rd.
Yeah, nice. He didn't have a lot of bad luck, but he's finally got some good luck. All the scrapping happening, and he actually picked off 2 places brilliantly there, so very well done. But here comes Gerrit. Look at the drive he's got there. I think Jean didn't see him coming. Oh, and a bit of contact between them, and Gerrit is in the barrier.
And spins the back end round. Now he's facing the wrong way. Oh, and he gets driven into, they're going to go all the way down the grid. So up into 5th comes Adib Khamaldin. Picky Stander in 4th, Jason Underwood in 3rd. Jaden Harrison holds on to 2nd by over 1.3 seconds. And Neil Swartz by 1.2 seconds in the lead.
Now look at our grid at the moment. Well, our positions on our grid. So we got a new driver in 1st place, a new driver in 2nd place, an old driver, a driver that's won multiple championships in 3rd, in 4th place a new driver, in 5th place a driver that's only had 1 win and never really completed a proper championship in Adib. Then we got Julian, then Peter Murray. All the regulars are further down.
And Julian had a terrible race 1, and he's in 6th position in the race 2. So it just goes to show, if you can avoid all the mayhem, then you potentially have a good lap. But the one that got into the mayhem now is the Flying Bumblebee, which is down in 10th, which is certainly not the place where he would like to be, is Gerrit Beekers. So for the overall points for the day, it's not going to be such a great race meeting. And if we have a look, he's 3 seconds behind Jean-Ray, and Jean-Ray is 3 seconds behind Dinesh. So those are big gaps to catch up in 13 minutes. But Neil Swartz, what a great race. Jaden Harrison is only 0.7 of a second behind him, and Jaden has the best lap. Let's look at the last laps. A 50.5 by Neil Swartz and a 50 dead by Jaden Harrison. So Jaden's chasing, believe you me.
And here comes Adib again, coming up now he's in 4th place at the moment, chasing down Picky.
Now Adib's got past Julian Brains, so Adib up to 4th and now chasing Picky.
I wonder if that was maybe team competitors where maybe Julian's moved over to allow Adib past, because they are teammates.
Yeah, so now we've got new entrant with Neil Swart, Jaden Harrison and Picky Stander. 1st, 2nd and 3rd. I think that must be almost the first ever.
Absolutely brilliant.
Great stuff to see the new guys doing so well, and what it'll mean, in my opinion, is that they'll stay around because they have the potential to win a race, they have the skill. Certainly, you're not going to be in the top 5 just because you entered. You've got to actually drive the car, and it's already there's 12 minutes remaining. So they've driven for 8 minutes already. So it'll be 8 laps completed. Because this lap is less, it'll probably be maybe potentially more, but at about give or take 10 seconds short of a minute per lap. But this is a very difficult circuit, and we did say in the beginning, there's not much to it when you look at it on paper. But if you look at what's happened to it while we've been commentating, we've certainly have a big swing around, and Gerrit has managed to get 1 position back. He's up to 9th. So the Bumblebee is not yet wiped out, but certainly it has a bigger battle on its hands than what it's used to.
And Stan is in quite a nice battle here as well. He's only just shy of a second behind Monet Deploy and Jason Underwood. Of course, Jason Underwood having, I think, being part of that incident that happened earlier. And as we see in the YouTube comments that popped up, lots of swearing coming out of the rig at the moment. I'm not surprised.
Now, Donnie is a DNF now, so the green car is no longer with us. Harvey Goos is 2 laps back. Michael Rabellini is only a lap back, and ahead of Michael is Andre Hildebrand, who's also a lap back. And Andre, just to give you an idea, is 13 seconds behind Donovan Vermaak, who's 18 seconds behind Stan Rosena. So Stan in 12th is fairly comfortable. He's only about 3 seconds behind Monet Deploy, and Monet is only about a second behind Jason Underwood. So Jason and Gerrit are the 2 big losers in that incident that we did see, down to 9th and 10th. So 9th for Gerrit, 10th for Jason. The last pass that I did mention is Gerrit actually got past Jason Underwood. Now that's one champion passing another champion. So even as far down as 10th position, the changes are happening.
Yeah, so Gerrit slowly making his way through the field, currently 9th, Jean-Andre 8th. So that's, I guess, something to watch out for, the gaps between them. Well, Jean-Andre is currently 3/10 or 1/10. He's about to get past D Nash, and then things could hot up.
Yeah, D Nash giving him room, but forcing him to go around the corner the long way around, and then on the next corner, D Nash drifts it out a little bit wide, which makes life a little bit easier. And the orange car gets past on that final corner and up the hill. As we said before, this start is very tricky because some of the cars facing uphill and at the back of the grid, and some of the cars at the front of the grid are facing downhill. So you really got to keep a heel toe on the brake and the clutch and the accelerator until the lights change, and not allow the car to roll either backwards or forwards and get penalized. Oh, somebody going the wrong direction there. You don't want to go onto the grass.
Of course, Peter having a great race as well. Peter, best overall finish so far, has been 5th with us. He's looking really good in this car at the moment. Seems quite comfortable. He seems to be getting the results in the race. He doesn't have the overall pace, although for this track he actually had a very good pace on the circuit but didn't qualify well, and yet he's coming through the field. So he's having a decent race at the moment. He's currently in 6th. He's challenging at the moment for 5th, although he's got a hard charging Jean-Ray behind him, but he's looking up the inside there. So Weldmick Racing showing good form tonight.
Now the Weldmick team has been on the podium previously, and certainly that car number 420, also yellow and black. He's trying to use the curving to his advantage there and shorten the line. Dennis, you can explain, I'm not sure with a circuit this tight, how many pings you get for cutting the corners and whether they are actually being issued tonight. But after so many warnings, then you do stand the chance of actually getting a penalty. Oh, here's where everything happened last time.
Oh, this is very close at the moment. And there goes Jean-Ray.
Yes. There
Yes.
was a back marker that had slowed right down to stay out of the way and almost got in the way with these 2 guys drifting out wide.
Yeah, that was, I'm sure Jean-Ray's heart was in his, how would you say it, in his throat at the moment.
Yeah. So Peter Marais 420 is going really well, and not so well on the gravel, because look at the gap immediately open when he makes the mistake. Just got the corner too wide, the car's unbalanced, he's going to go wide to the left again, and then you've got to think about 2 corners. Here's the last corner of the track, you recognize it instantly, and look at the distance that he lost. We switch cars now to Jean-Ray, but the distance that he lost just with 1 mistake he goes through. So here's the flying Jean-Ray du Toit. He's going to go past
With ease.
yeah. So, well done there.
Something I'm noticing is that Jean-Ray seems to be the one driver going from East London to this track, including this track. that seems to be very confident on the brakes to make a dive up the inside. A lot of the drivers seem to be a bit hesitant. He seems to go very confident on the brakes, sticks the car up the inside, he's able to turn the car, not drift wide. He seems to have excellent control on the brakes.
Pakistan, I must say, was very gracious in giving him enough road to get through that corner up the inside. He didn't turn the car in, but I think John Ray was up on his inside, possibly up to the A pillar already before the corner arrived, and then just doing the way, allowing the competitor enough space to do what he was in position to do. And the difference is that Picky is still in the race in 6th place, and they are both racing, which is great to see that the guys are giving each other just enough space. We did see an incident before, but I think it was inevitable at that stage with so many cars so early in the race, so close to each other. There again, look at that.
Oh, there goes the Deeb.
Yeah, Adib got it all wrong into the line into the first portion of that, and that unsettled the car completely. And then you take all of the complex to get the car pointing in the direction you actually wanted to go, compared to the direction that the traction is making you go, and the two aren't necessarily the same.
So at the moment, what we saw there was Adib making a massive mistake, and now he's coming to the clutches of Jean de Toy. But that means Julian Branch is in 3rd, so Julian got past Adib again, so Adib may be struggling with tyre wear here, something he didn't seem to have a problem with the previous track. Julian's now having a really excellent, I mean, he's on the podium at the moment, so yeah. Brilliant race for Julian. There's only 5 minutes left to go.
Well, and to think that Julian didn't finish race 1, if I remember, I think he actually did finish, but he was 10 laps down or something ridiculous because he had a big incident and went off into the barriers. Came in, had it fixed, went out again, but was 10 laps down, but was there anyway. But Harvey just takes the scenic route and then tries to avoid, and in trying to stay out of the way, he gets a 360 view of what Knockhill looks like.
I'm sure Jean, once again, his heart was in his throat there.
Yeah, I think Jean-Ray probably has a water bottle in his attire, and he needs to swallow often, otherwise he's going to have his Adam's apple beating in his throat. So Julian Brain's good race in 3rd position, but 7 seconds behind Jaden, and Jaden 0.7 of a second behind Neil Swartz. So Neil Swartz and Jaden Harrison are showing the guys that have been around here forever with some experience South Africa, and here comes the new guys, and they have a good start. They race a solid race, keep the car pointing where the track is going, and that, I wouldn't say is the secret, that everybody knows that's what you're meant to do, and certainly Neil Swartz and Jaden Harrison are doing it extremely well tonight. We're going to see, I think, a lot more of them as this series progresses.
For sure, definitely. Best result in a championship ever for Julian is only 9th, so I think this championship he might improve that. And by the way he's going now, he's definitely going to improve that.
The other thing that counts as well for a championship is consistency, as my tongue and my brain need to get into the same gear. But here's 1st and 2nd, Neil Swartz, and right behind him, Jaden Harrison. Now remember, Jaden's car, Jaden uses a lot of the curb there, but somehow uses it perfectly because it didn't unsettle the car. I remember a view of Jaden's car sideways at East London, and I tell you what, he's going for a first to try and get past Neil Swartz. But with only 3 minutes to go, that's 3 laps and maybe the 4th one, because they're in the final corner now. What did I say that corner's name was? It's Taylor's, and then they're into the straight, and then, as I say, the combination from Duffers Dip to McIntyre to Butchers, and then the chicane before you get to the Brabham Straight and Clark, that happens very quickly. So I think because you've got to actually race the car and drive it through those corners, you cannot concentrate on driving the car and trying to pass the car in front of you. That's what my logic tells me. I might be totally incorrect. And it looks as though the most sensible place to pass, Harvey's off on the scenic route again, or the most sensible place to pass is Taylor's, which is the final corner.
All right, so we see the battle brewing at the front. We see a comment from Ariane Balder saying, "Good evening, racers. Looks like a great race. Well, so far, very exciting, very mixed up. Quite a result so far."
Why not on the track? Aiden competed in some of the races last year. I remember him very well.
Yes, he actually was practicing for this round. I thought he might join, but he did say in the previous race he actually commented saying he might race at some point, but he's very busy at the moment.
the more the merrier, and certainly if you look at this race, Harvey being passed there, that's a nice view as they swing around over the finish line.
I believe that is Adib right in front of him. So Julian's got Adib there. He's got another back mark. I think that's Michael going off there. Oh dear, shame. Just losing it there. Right. And
Michael Rabellini, yeah, he was down in, well, he's further down.
it looks like they've caught up to Julian a bit. Sorry to butt in there. The gap between Julian and Adib has definitely got smaller. So maybe as they're coming through the field, Julian has been slowed up a bit and they've managed to catch. But a minute and a half. So it's going to be probably 2 laps to go.
Julian and Adib, the last lap's virtually identical to the 100th of a second.
Oh, and Adib spins. Adib is off. So that's Adib off. That releases Gendre. So that means Gendre is now coming for Julian.
I was actually looking at the lap scoring monitor. Did that Adib make the mistake himself?
It looks like he just got on the throttle very hard and the rear end came around. I don't think there was any incident between them.
Yeah. And this late in the race, the tyre grip isn't as good as you expect. That was at Taylor's, the last corner.
Yes.
Now, here's this complex that I talk about, doofus dip amongst others. And as I say, you're really concentrating on keeping the car in the right direction. Julian Brains has a gap of 2 seconds to Gendre de Toy, and Harvey again taking the dirt road. That's the road to Ottosdal, Harvey. You don't want to go to Ottosdal because that road's terrible. And there's the last corner again. So depending where Neil Swartz is, and 27 seconds to go, they're going to have one more lap. Because here we have...
See, so getting very sideways there. Managing to get good drive still.
Yeah, he's got 1 lap to make a difference. And Gerrit Bekus, he's going to, in 6th position, is not going to be the most impressed. But look at this for 1st and 2nd amongst new competitors to the Formula and to us here in Sim Experience South Africa. Neil Swartz and Jaden Harrison, Maximum Racing car number 32 and Caribbean United car number 604. Oh, on the inside.
Oh, wow, it's close.
Our time is up, so this is going to be for the checkered flag. Well done, Neil Swartz. Flag to flag, and well done, Jaden Harrison. You stuck to that 2nd position and just didn't give it up at all. What a great race. What a great finish for those 2 competitors.
And Julian getting on the podium. Great stuff for Julian.
Somebody went off, I'm not sure if it's one of the back markers, in Taylor's, the final corner. I think did get back on again, but I don't see anybody falling down the leaderboard. So I think it might have been Michael or Donovan further back, even Andre Hildebrand potentially.
I think it was Adib that went off because he's only finished 9th.
It could have been Adib. Yeah. I just saw in the distance somebody, when the front runners went over the line, somebody went off at Taylor's, and that could have changed everything, of course, which it did, because Adib down to 9th position. So some you win and some you don't, but certainly Neil Swartz, I said it when he started, that car just squatted down on the wheels and off went Neil. Jaden followed him as hard as he could, and that's the way they stayed for the whole race. The fastest lap goes to Gendre de Toy, 49.675, which is another point to Gendre. So,
and that's it for the race. We're going to just gather the top 3 drivers. We're going to see the points and just gather. This is a good question. Who's the top driver for the meeting? We'll find out shortly. So stick around. We'll get the top 3 drivers together. We'll have a few interviews and then we will close it off that. So we'll be back shortly.
people then.
All right, welcome back everybody for the interviews for the completion of round 2, live from the Knockhill circuit in Scotland. Of course, this is our second round of the 10-round championship. We have our top 3 drivers for this round joining us, and surprise, surprise, they are. It was very close, but we have Gerrit Bierkes first overall, Jean de Toy second overall, and Jason Underwood third overall. First and second were both on 34 points, so tied on 34 points. Gerrit getting it by nature of a victory in race 1, and Jason on 27 points, so very, very close. Unfortunately, our race 2 winner, Neil Swartz, doesn't feature because he didn't get any points in race 1. So getting a race 2 victory, but no points in race 1, and he doesn't have the overall points to be on the podium. But congratulations to our top 3 drivers. Sean, do you want to do the interviews?
I'm going to ask Gerrit. This is a small circuit, it's 2 kilometers, but I think you guys must be finished after a race like this. It's difficult, especially the second race. You were into the sunset again in race 1 due to the pole. But race 2, starting from 5th and having a few incidents, it must have been a difficult race for you.
Yeah, I actually told Jason just after race 1 I was pretty knackered. I was done after the first race, so yeah, it's kind of tough going fast around here and concentrating that hard. But yeah, first race fine, all good, and then in the second race I unfortunately made a hash of that long sweeping turn, and I took John Ray, so I want to apologize for that. But yeah, I'm quite happy.
Well, John Ray's here to tell the tale, but John Ray, am I right in saying that the 4 corners after the end of the front straight, you've got to concentrate so hard on driving that there's absolutely no chance of passing on those first corners. Basically, the one place to pass is the last corner on the straight, and that's it.
Yeah, no, I agree. Passing on any other corner is a big risk. You can basically only pass on the last one unless the car in front of you spins out or is extremely slow. But yeah, no, it's a difficult track to overtake, and that's why the races were, I think, we expected a mess. It was a bit of a mess from my point. I had both races I messed up. First race I had to fight back from 8th, and I think in race 2 I also had to fight back from like 9th or something. But overall, my pace, I think, was fine. But yeah, I think it was a good race overall. It's fine.
Right, and then Jason, quietly, I don't think we spoke about you all that often, but quietly you snuck into 3rd position. You can tell us a bit about the technical things. What was tyre wear like? Was it an issue, or do you get through this track with one set of tyres quite easily?
Yeah, I think you get through the race quite comfortably with one set of tires, but we do struggle with tire temperature, especially the front left. It takes quite a battering, and your brakes get really hot as well. So it's about managing that on the front straight, and trying not to brake as late. But with the track so close and so technical, you're always fighting with someone, so it's quite hard to manage that. But yeah, other than that, it was I'm sweating. It was fun and entertaining.
We enjoyed it certainly from this end. And Gerrit, back to you just for one question. Even being out as far in the front as what you were, did the back markers have an influence on your race in race 1?
Yeah, on a small track like this, you're busy all the way around. So yeah, you have to be awake. So yeah, but the next tracks we're going to is going to be a bit better. So we'll see what happens there.
Yeah, maybe we can have a bit of a breather as commentators. That's all for me. Thanks. Back to you, Dennis.
All right, Charles, just a question for some of the drivers. We're now heading into the South African rounds. Like you say, the track, this is probably the most difficult track in the championship, or definitely is. We've got some faster, more flowing ones coming up. Of course, that'll change the car. We've found that I think the tighter tracks maybe suit the car, the way it rotates better than the faster one. With a limited setup, you get a bit more understeer in this car. Let's start with Jason. Do you find the faster tracks easier or harder in this car with a limited setup?
I think it all depends, Dennis. You know, like a faster sweeping corners, the front end is quite light, and then you've got to you can only play with the brake balance. So in order to try and keep the nose down, you tend to like just tap the brake just so the nose comes down, and then you can accelerate through the corner. But a tight track like tonight, it would have been nice if it wasn't so bumpy. I think all my teeth fillings have all fallen out. But other than that, the car's very drivable. It's just practice. And yeah, the next circuit's also going to be a bit of a humdinger, I think. So brace yourselves in, commentators. It should be fun.
Well, the next track is Swartkorps, and Swartkorps we did do in a pre-season test race, and that seemed to be very, very good. The drivers were very close up front. Jason, you were very fast there, as well as Gerrit. I don't think Genre, I don't remember you doing the fun race with us, but certainly if you did, just let me know. But the other drivers that were doing it seemed very, very close, so it looks like it's going to be very close again. Gerrit, final words from you. Going to Swartkorps, you did do a little bit of practice there in the pre-season tests. Are you looking forward to it?
Yeah, I think it's going to be close straight through the championship with us guys that's here. So I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be tough.
And Jandre, final words from you then. You had a good round tonight. You managed to get second place. You've tied on points with Gerrit, so that's good. So you haven't caught him in the championship, but you've maintained the gap. So you should now be solid in second. Are you looking forward to Swartkorps as well?
Yeah, I think I might have to put in a bit of practice, pull up the socks to catch Gerrit up front, but it should be an exciting season.
All right, then. Thanks, guys. I'm going to say goodbye to you all. I'm going to kick you all out. So thank you very much and well done to everyone. I will just say the final goodbyes to everyone now.
Cheers, everybody.
Yes, thank you.
All right, so of course we say goodbye to our drivers. Next up, we do have Swartkorps, as we were mentioning, that is in Pretoria in South Africa. It's a fantastic circuit. We have a very nice version of it as well to use. So a fantastic circuit to do racing on. This car in particular drives really nice around there. I believe this is the track we were testing at when Jason said, yes, we definitely need a championship in this car. This car drives nice. So we had all sorts of drivers fast there. And in our testing, we had guys, Rian van der Vestes, and he was very fast there. We had Jason very fast there. We had a lot of unexpected drivers that seemed to go really well there. Obviously, Gerrit and Jason were always going to be at the front, and they were both very fast there. But Rian wasn't far off. So, good to see drivers like that able to at least challenge. Unfortunately, Rian hasn't been driving with us this championship. Maybe he'll join us at some point, but let's see. Maybe drivers like Adib will now feature more. Stan Mercedes might feature. He might find he likes the track. You never know. So could be an interesting round. And of course, that is round 3 of the championship. And we have a few more to go after that. So let's see what happens in the championship. And I guess until then, we'll catch everyone next week. Sean, thank you very much for tonight. It's been an excellent round and enjoyed having you with me.
Always a pleasure. It was a great evening. Thanks, Dennis. And if the drivers have a checkbook, then they can send money and I can tell them what to do. I know Swartkorps, I've commentated their live circuit racing for many years. I know the circuit very well. It's difficult, but it does have places for overtaking. And then there are some places that I'm not going to give away that the grip is in places where you might not expect it. So you can actually have more than one racing line through the same corner. So Swartkorps is an interesting circuit. Also short. Knockhill was 2 kilometers. This is 2.4. So the laps are also going to be over in about a minute. And it's going to be a lot of fun.
Great stuff. I'll catch you guys all next week. And of course, Sean, I'll catch you next week. So have a good week. And thank you very much for tonight. And thank you everyone for watching. Remember to hit the like and subscribe button. We'll catch you all next week. Cheers, everyone.
Good night. Good night, everybody.